goes in, jumps off, takes another taxi, jumps off again, and then takes another taxi. So basically the taxi takes him to its final destination. Okay, that's how it is. So the other is the posterior branch of the mandibular. Let's continue. Is what? Lingual and inferior alveolar, right? So lingual, so this is lingual. Okay, look. Okay, this is lingual here. This is lingual, and this is the inferior alveolar. Let's look at inferior alveolar. This is inferior alveolar. See? Inferior alveolar goes through the mandibular foramen. This is the mandibular foramen, through the mandibular canal, and it gives off branches to the lower jaw, lower tooth roots. So when you go to the dentist, okay, and they would, when you know, if there's something wrong with the your lower tooth, they have to anesthetize, give anesthesia to the inferior alveolar nerve, so they can, you know, work properly. Or specifically, they can do a local anesthesia, or if they want to anesthesia like 1/4 of the lower jaw, they have to give they have to block this nerve. So this is the inferior alveolar nerve block. Okay, so it comes out from the mental foramen as the mental nerve, and becomes again cutaneous and superficial. But before it goes through the inferior alveolar nerve, it gives off a branch. What's that branch? No. So the inferior alveolar nerve, it goes through the mandibular foramen, okay, inside the canal, and gives off branches to the tooth. But before it goes in, it gives off a branch. That branch is called?
Mylohyoid.
Right, nerve to mylohyoid. It gives off a nerve to mylohyoid. See, mylohyoid is over here. So it comes out that mylohyoid and then goes to the mylohyoid, nerve to mylohyoid. And also nerve to mylohyoid gives off a small branch that innervates anterior belly of digastric, right? Anterior belly of digastric is innervated by the mandibular nerve, right? How about the posterior belly of digastric? Posterior venter. It's the facial, right? So the digastric muscle is innervated by two nerves. It's dually innervated. Posterior belly is innervated by the facial, and anterior belly or venter is innervated by the mandibular nerve, or the branch of the mylohyoid. So that's the inferior alveolar. Let's look at the lingual nerve here. This is the lingual nerve. Lingual nerve goes to the tongue. So one of the important aspects of the lingual nerve is that, how do I know? It goes to the tongue, right? But this nerve, okay, I don't know if you can see it. This nerve hitchhikes on or connects with the lingual nerve, this nerve. This nerve is called the chorda tympani. And chorda tympani comes from the facial. So it's a branch of facial, this chorda tympani. So this is the facial nerve here. Okay. Remember the facial nerve? It gives off these branches. The facial nerve gives off these branches. What is this? Temporal, zygomatic, buccal, mandibular or margin mandible, and this? Cervical, right. So cervical innervates what? Which muscle?
The
platysma, right? Platysma, for instance. Like orbicular oculi is innervated by which branch? Right, zygomatic, and partially maybe from temporal too. It's not strictly, you know, innervated, but you just like figure out according to the location of these branching and the position of the muscles. Anyhow, so this is facial. Okay, this is a facial nerve, and it's a branch of facial, and this is a chorda tympani. Okay, chorda tympani again connects or hitchhikes on the lingual nerve, just like taking a taxi, right? So lingual nerve is a taxi, so it hitchhikes on the lingual nerve. So what's the importance of chorda tympani? The importance of chorda tympani is that it carries two important different fibers. One, it carries a sensory fiber, which is the taste, and it receives anterior 2/3 of the tongue, the taste. So taste is divided into three compartments, three areas: anterior 2/3, posterior 1/3, and root of the tongue, the epiglottic part of the tongue. Anterior 2/3 is received by the chorda tympani. Posterior 1/3 is received by glossopharyngeal, and the epiglottic part of the tongue is received by the vagus nerve. Now let's get this concentrate on the anterior 2/3. What that is received by the chorda tympani. The other fiber that is carried in the chorda tympani is motor, is the parasympathetics. Okay, that is basically it goes to the submandibular ganglia and sublingual ganglia and submandibular ganglia.
Yeah.
Ultimately, postganglion fibers come out and they go to the submandibular gland and sublingual gland. So this is a motor fiber. So it basically, chorda tympani carries two different fibers. One sensory, which is taste. The other is motor, and that is the parasympathetic that goes to the submandibular gland and sublingual gland and innervates that gland to secrete saliva. Okay, that's chorda tympani. Okay, that's the branch of the right. That's the branch of this mandibular nerve, which is V3. So the other content is the maxillary artery. Maxillary artery. So let's look at the maxillary artery. So these two, as you can see, this is the external carotid. External carotid, the terminal branch. So external is superficial temporal and maxillary. So these two are, so this is superficial temporal here, and you can see it in your own model. Superficial temporal, the other is this is maxillary here. This is a branch of external carotid. So this might be like occipital. Occipital or posterior auricular. So we have two branches that come out from the external carotid. So it goes to the back, the occipital, and posterior auricular, behind the ear. That's the branch of external carotid. Okay. So this is the maxillary. So this is the maxillary here. So maxillary has three areas, parts. One, first, second, third part. The first part is what?
Mandibular part.
It's a mandibular part. Second,
Pterygoid part.
pterygoid part. Third,
Pterygopalatine
part. Okay. So the first part, it's in between it's behind the lateral pterygoid muscle. It's behind, okay. Or in front. Let's say it's in front. Yeah, it's behind. It's behind the lateral pterygoid muscle. Between the lateral pterygoid and the neck of the mandible. That's the first part. The first part of the maxillary artery, which is the mandibular part. So mandibular part gives off how many branches?
5.
Five. So the other is what? 5?
4, 6.
4, 6, right. 5, 4, 6. So 5 are what? Who can tell me the 5 branches of the mandibular part?
One of them is the inferior ovary.
Okay, so we have the deep auricular,
Yeah, deep auricular.
anterior tympanic. Okay, if you forget this, it's okay, but don't forget the what?
Inferior ovary.
No. The middle meningeal is important here. Okay, it's the middle meningeal, which you see, we can see that. Middle meningeal, see? This is middle meningeal, and it goes through the two roots of the auriculotemporal nerve. You see this artery here, middle meningeal. So we have the deep auricular, okay. We have the anterior tympanic, and then we have the middle meningeal, and then we have the accessory meningeal. Last is what?
Inferior ovary.
Inferior
Ovale.
alveolar.
Alveolar.
Okay, so this is the inferior alveolar here. Okay, this one here is inferior alveolar. So inferior alveolar goes with which nerve? Inferior alveolar nerve, right. So inferior alveolar artery and inferior alveolar nerve goes through the mandibular foramen, through the mandibular canal, and basically supplies the lower jaw. That's it. So this is the inferior alveolar. This is what? The middle meningeal artery. And then we have accessory meningeal.